So there's this guy, he's sitting in a bar, and a priest walks in, grabs a chair and starts to pull it up. The guy says, "Hey, wait a minute. I don't want you to waste your time. I happen to know there's no God." And the priest says, well, why is that? He says, "I was an explorer. I explored the North Pole, and I got caught in a blinding storm. It was a blizzard, and I was freezing to death. And I prayed to God. I said, God, please save me from this storm." And he never showed up. And the priest says, "Well, you're alive, you're here. Obviously, he saved you." He goes, "No, God didn't save me. An Eskimo showed up and took me back to his village and fed me and kept me warm. An Eskimo saved me." Yeah, all right. This is my Eskimo. The Cold Steel Master Tanto. Now, the reason why I told that joke is, and we'll get into this badassery here in a minute or so, but the reason why I told that silly joke is yesterday was my beloved German Shepherd Marla's her birthday checkup, her annual checkup. And we went, and her vet's about an hour away because I live in this podunk town that doesn't even have a vet. And the hospital here is more like a vet's office. That's a story for another time. But anyways, so we went, and on our way back, there was a big, giant, fatal crash involving semis and stuff on the highway because there's these crazy, crazy winds. And I knew it yesterday when I left the house that there was going to be a crash on that highway. I could just feel it. I've been commuting on that highway for well over a decade, and I just know when there's going to be bad shit that goes down. So we're sitting there for a long time, and Marla had a blood draw, and she don't really like the vet that much, so she was like, I'm in the old bucket rig I got right now, and it's getting kind of hot in there and stuff, and I know this is game warden flipped a bitch, and it gave me the idea. I'm like, dude, all these back roads and stuff, you just need to cut through the desert, and you'll be good. Well, I was cutting through one of my back roads, and when you get out in the desert a while, it starts to look a lot alike. And I took a turn about a quarter mile too early, and I ended up going down this trail that turned into a wash. It's like a riverbed. And that old thing just vacuumed up to the frame, man, in this soft sand. And I made a few phone calls, and like, I don't got nobody in this world, in this life. I have people that are far away that love and care about me and stuff, but like immediate, like people I can call and be like, yo, I need something. Nah. So I was walking though, and so I was like, hey, come on, Marla, let's hit the road. I said, we'll find us an Eskimo, because I thought about that joke. I said, we'll find us an Eskimo. Nah. We walked for 22 miles, over 9 hours, and it even started to snow at one point. You can check, man. You can check the news and the weather. It like literally started snowing on us at one point. And like 30 to 40 rigs went past us over that time, because eventually I made it to this back road that goes behind the dairy and shit that's by my house. And 30 people, man. And they just push it, man. I got to one point where I was holding my ID in my hand and going, yo, I'm local, with my flashlight. I even did SOS with my flashlight on a reservation cop. And they looked and they flipped a bitch and went the other way. And that made me realize, man, what a shitty world we live in nowadays. Terrible. Even just like, I moved out this way about 13 years ago. And those people would wave at each other, but all those people are dead and gone or moved away. And like where I live now has pretty much been bought up by chads and assholes from Southern California. So I'm surrounded by a bunch of chads and assholes from Southern California, because out here they can get property cheap and then just lay around and live like fucking bums. But I got to thinking, though, even we got home and both of us are crippled up today and sore. I got to thinking, man, if I was just gonna have one knife on me, and I'm not saying for shrub craft, I'm not saying for anything other than like, when the shit goes down, you better be ready. I would grab me a cold steel Master Tanto. And I tell you why. They started pumping little bitty ads about an inch and a half by about an inch and a half in the back of Guns and Ammo and such, back in the days in the 80s. And then they would have a picture of it stabbed into the hood of a car, the roof of a car, the door of a car, maybe, one of those pieces of a car. And then after a while, they would show Lynn Thompson putting this thing through a bulletproof vest. I remember thinking, fuck, that thing is bitching. I gotta have one of those. And it's like, but I've always been a skeptic. And when I was a little kid, you can't just drop a couple $100. Well, I think they were like $150 even back then. And I just couldn't, send off $150 when you're 10 years old and wait 6 to 8 weeks shipping and handling. And eventually high school rolled around and there was this cool gun store that was a few blocks away from my neighborhood called Silver State Arms. This cool dude named Bob ran the place, and he had a case on the west counter of his gun store, and it was a spin around case, and it was all cold steels. And I was like, whoa, my goodness. And I remember I got the mini California drop point or whatever it was. Minis in there, small. It was like the Outdoorsman, but I believe they call it the mini California Outdoorsman. And I got that, and it was very similar to the cold steel Tanto. And I liked it because it had the stainless fittings, the furniture, whatever. I don't like saying furniture because furniture is usually made out of wood, so the fittings. The hilt and the pommel were made out of stainless on the little California Outdoorsman or whatever it was. And then eventually I literally like layawayed my cold steel Tanto. And it was an original San Mai, and it had the brass pommel, had the brass pommel and the brass guard and the same good rubbery psycho grippy thing. And those older ones, they came in this nice leather sheath that had this little right here, man. But I tell you what, you pull that thing out quick, you cut that leather thing every time, you get in the way somehow. I had a good old slice in my sheath. And man, I did the dumbest shit with that knife. I was like, man, this knife could do anything. And I put it into the roof of a couple cars over the years. And I carried that for a long ass time. And it was like my knife. And then the biggest piece of shit I've ever known in my entire life, in my entire existence, who's still a piece of shit and is sucking shit every day of his life and is going to die a piece of shit, stole it from me. And yeah. And I was really sad about that. And I got another one as time went along and stuff, and I have an older one stashed away, but I really like these newer ones. And people can cry and complain about newer cold steels, but man, as always, the fit and finish. And if you look, let's see if we can get this angle. Look at that. You can almost see that line, that San Mai line. That beautiful section of hard edge and the more malleable backbone. That's one of the things that I enjoy about this particular cold steel Master Tanto. Is I love San Mai knives. And I don't have too many right now. I have a really special one I'll bust out one of these days. But I just have to say that from the very first one of these I ever had till now, when I get it in my hand, man, just like the cold steel box says, man, any fucking time, any fucking where. I might have added some words in there. But I tell you what, This is the business, man. Pure and simple. And there have been many, many, many imitations of this knife. And I mean, but there will never, ever, ever be anything that's as rad as a cold steel Master Tanto, in my humble, degenerate opinion. If you want yourself something that will last the test of time, like I said, I have one of these that's at least 30 years old. And if you want something that will last the test of time and be tough and shave any critter you want to, right out of the box, this is for you. Don't waste your money on other tactical brands of knife. If you want something you know you can just trust no matter what that's in your hand, dude, this is the one. I promise you. They've really got this down. This particular one's made in Taiwan, and that's all right by me. I don't care, because I look at it and I see that the quality control is amazing. These newer ones have, where'd it go? Here it is. These Secure X sheaths. It's got the like a Cordura nylon dangler on it, which bolts off, and you can put yourself a tech lock on here and mount samurai style on your belt, or you can put a clip on it and you can clip it places. You guys know what you can do with these. You know, a lot of people just can't hang with the Cray X though. They are kind of grippy. That thumb ramp there, you gotta utilize that. You gotta get your thumb on that. See? A lot of people, I see them, they're like, oh my God. And don't, dude. You're gonna slip and you're gonna go through all that. And that will not be a good day, but you just give it a good push with your thumb there. I noticed that when people write reviews about this knife, that's one thing that they complain about is, oh, the sheath holds the knife too tight. Well, that is there for a reason, people. You just, right there, comes out. It's a noisy sheath. If you're gonna be a ninja, you might want to get it. There's a lot of custom sheaths for this. I'm gonna make a custom sheath for this particular one. It's gonna be something special. Yeah. But the Cold Steel Master Tanto, this is a good, I tell you, you can't really, you can't really beat it. It's tough. It will go through ballistic material. It will go through a roof of a car. These are all things I have tested personally. You could use this for pretty much anything, but in my opinion, some knives are just for keeping razor sharp and on your belt just in case. I'm still only carrying my little non-viable 7 Series sharp finger, by the way. Still kicking ass. Still will be. But this here, if it was going to be a one and done for a tactical style, business style fucking knife, this would be the one for me. I think it's because of muscle memory, because I've had these since 1990. That's what, 35 years? 35 years of muscle memory, you know? And so for me, this is like an old friend holding my hand. Which is kind of nice these days when all anybody cares about is the internet and chasing the bag. It's good to have a friend. Here it is. The Eskimo. It'll save you. I highly recommend this. You can't beat it, period. And I was disillusioned for a long time, man. I bought some Kool-Aid, you know, about a little over a decade ago on the internet, man. I bought the Kool-Aid and I started like distrusting Cold Steel products. And there was a phase where they weren't so hot. But this guy, all down the line, has always held the line. Boom, look at that. 6 inches. And you know, for tactical type stuff, for business type stuff, for getting down, that 6-inch blade mark, personally, that's the one. This thing is so fucking lightning fast, I'm telling you. Get you one. You will not be disappointed. Once you get this thing in your hand and you get to memorize it and you wield it, whew, boy. I know there's some of my buddies out there that love these things. Other people are like, oh, you're a mall ninja. It isn't made in America. It doesn't have tactical in the name. I like my hot dogs boiled. You're all so silly, dude. Buying a bunch of wonky, misheat-treated stuff by fat asses. Fat dudes that couldn't even wield something because they would stumble and fall on one of their rotting off toes from the diabetes. And believe it or not, even though this is a Tanto, whatever you want to call it, it does have the Wilford P. Brimley tip. You can check your levels with it. But I do not recommend that. Do not listen to me. This is for entertainment purposes only. Have a wonderful day, evening, whatever. Yeah. I'm going to watch some How the West Was Won again. Almost done with that show. So good. Check it out. That's a good show. But there it is. I'll shut the fuck up. Have a great night.